Hello, good night, good evening. All right, good evening. Welcome to all those who are tuning in, all those who are watching on the replay. Hey, Amina is here.
Hi.
Yes, greetings, beautiful woman. So good to see you and so good to have you here. And for all of those who are tuning in and watching, Amina is a poet, a playwright, a priestess, based down in Melbourne, in Nam. And it's so good to have her here. She is just preparing to release her very first single, which is You Are Water, a poetry piece. And for those who are new to Amina, her art is a channel for ritual and romancing with life. So welcome, beautiful. It's so good to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much, Kattimoni. This is such a joy and such a treat. I'm so glad we've co-created this space.
Yes, yes, my love. And how are you feeling like as we come up to your first launch? I know that this is a really big milestone for you. So how are you feeling and what's alive for you right now?
Well, it's been a very vulnerable week. There's just so much accelerated growth. But in all honesty, right now, just chatting to you, knowing you're in Barbados and connecting in with your energy, I'm actually feeling really calm and centered and
Mm,
really just trusting in what's to unfold. So thank you for that.
mm.
That's really where I'm at. I'm in this space of trust and celebration because the track's come a long way and I've come a long way with my artistic practice and my expression. And yeah, this is where I'm at.
Yeah, you have. And I want to actually, yeah, just fully celebrate you and acknowledge you for the journey that you've been on and for the process. And I know that there's so many creators and people who are tuning in this community, and a lot of friends and family from all around the world who are watching. And we know that as artists and as conscious creators, that there's so much of ourself that goes into the creation process when we're releasing something or we're sharing something with the world. And yeah, and it's just such a big part of our own personal development and evolution when we're putting something out there. So you are water. This piece, what does it symbolize for you? What does it represent for you?
So for me, You Are Water is this expression that has been born out of a beautiful journey of connecting with a man that I truly love and is still in my life. So it's really been born out of a romantic space. But what I love about it is it's because it's a song, and I feel like, I mean, it's a song infused by, sung poetry and spoken word and that sort of thing. It's not a very conventional song in terms of form and structure. But what I love is it's a song. And I feel like the relationship that I've had with this beautiful man had to be released and expressed through song because he is and has been such a pivotal person when
Mm.
it's come to like honoring and like activating the creative expression and the sound and the voice in me and my truth. So it's that beautiful blend of artistic expression and the relationship and the gifts of that. So for me, it felt natural, it felt beautiful to devote this process in honor and in reflection of that journey together.
Mm. So beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're
And
welcome.
it's it's incredible because I also released a song last year called Love Like Water. And so when I was listening to your track, I had a sneak preview. Today I was listening and tuning into it, and I was feeling that that focus on conscious relating and love, like just the love that is in in your poetry. And so, yeah, I'm curious, like for you, what is the connection there with love and water?
Well, water is an expression of emotion and an expression of flow and movement and journey. So naturally, for me, that mirrors the art of relating and that dance, that ebb and flow, that change, that connection. And water is this beautiful medium that trusts in where it goes and is so fluid to that change. And you know, it emulates the movement of a song, it emulates the movement of a relationship. So I guess that's where I draw those connections. But yeah, water is also this beautiful element that can't be captured. It can be held, but it can't fully be captured. And there's this beautiful sense of surrender and trust and release and letting flow. And it just really emulated the trust and the surrender to the flow in the way I connected with my previous partner. And so that really wanted to come through. And even when I was, you know, looking for more, I don't know, like less obvious titles maybe, or something like that, You Are Water just kept coming up because it was the truest expression of what I felt in that space and where I am now as well, when I'm, you know, still relating with him from a more platonic, intimate friendship.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah. It's so like when I was listening to the track, and obviously I've heard it develop over time through our mentoring sessions and that kind of thing. So I've as I was listening to it, I was just feeling how much it's matured and evolved, because I know it's been something that's been in process since 2020, I believe, or probably a little before then, right? And so what I loved most about it when I was listening to it today was how as soon as it started, I felt like I was just dropped into an altered state of consciousness, like it almost like a meditation. It was just a beautiful grounding, and the way that you use your language and you shape words. You know, your word sound power is so strong, and you shape words in a way that really activates the senses. I felt like I really dropped into my body straight away, and it really evokes a sense of the sacred, you know. And I know that you have a launch plan for it. Is it tomorrow? No, it's Friday. Friday?
Yeah, well, yeah, tomorrow.
Which is tomorrow down on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in Barbados for those who are watching. So I'm on island time. But so you have a launch event tomorrow, and I know that you've got a beautiful ceremony. You're going to have cacao, and you can tell us all about that a little more in a moment. But I was curious about exploring the role that ritual plays in your creative process, like when you are creating and when you're you know, you're channeling and you're bringing in all the inspiration. What is the role that ritual plays in that creative process for you?
It plays a really strong part of it from the start, you know, to the end of that. Yeah, ritual is something that I've grown up with, and something that I keep coming back to in terms of inspiration and really honoring like what wants to come through. I like to call it playful reverence. And
I love that. Playful.
Yeah, playful reverence. It's very mermaidy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like bringing the sacred and bringing the creativity and bringing like the intuition within this space of, yeah, creating ritual, creating sacred space for a transmission that wants to come through and hopefully goes beyond me, but also touches me deeply. And yeah, so like ritual goes hand in hand with how this was created. You know, let's just speak to journeying with cacao as a beautiful companion, and inspiration from the earth. A lot of the time when I was actually in that conception space of getting the lyrics or the words down, I was journeying with cacao. I was really inviting my heart to open and take in the love that wants to come through and be expressed. So that's, you know, one example. And another is the rock and crystal kingdom. Like, as I speak to you right now, I've got at least 10 crystals next to me, you know, and that's a huge part of that as well. They are such a source of inspiration and imagination for me. I love the process of crystallization. It takes so long for crystals to form. It is an act of love from the earth. And yeah, like, as I say that, I can feel the love from the earth coming into me, because this is such a huge part of my artistry and my expression as well. It's really celebrating transformation processes, and, you know, that goes hand in hand with creativity. And so I use crystals to reflect and remind myself of the beauty of transformation and the patience that it takes to really allow for something to crystallize, you know, in divine timing. Like, crystals are all born out of divine timing. And that's just a gorgeous reminder for me when I'm on this journey that's unfolding, be it relating with a beautiful man, or be it releasing my first poetry single, or being in a beautiful space where I get to invite both of those journeys to flow and mirror and inform each other with trust and, yeah, this openness.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, it's allowing that openness to flow. And you're talking a lot about transformation. And, you know, we know that art is so healing, and not even just the process of making it ourselves, but that entire process that we go through as creators to share and to put ourselves out there and to be visible. And it takes a lot of courage, you know. So I fully honor you in, you know, in that in this process of putting your single out there and launching that. And I'm curious, like, what do you feel has been the biggest transformation for you, or the biggest catalyst for expansion, like from the beginning of conception of this idea, this inspiration coming through, all the way up to putting your event together, preparing for your launch tomorrow? Like, what has been the biggest thing for you that you've had to move through or transform or alchemize in order to get here?
Trust. Like, trust has been the biggest teacher and source of creativity for me. And, like, that's also coming back to my name. So Amina means trustworthy. And so I guess the biggest expansion that I've had as an artist is really evoking and embodying that sense of trust in how it's going to, yeah, transform and be realized. And it's followed suit with this journey of coming back to my name, coming back to my truth and what I stand for. And trust is a huge part of that. Yeah, like, my name means trustworthy. And so I believe that, as, you know, part of this universe, I am as trustworthy as the universe, and the universe is as trustworthy as me. And with that belief, there is so much possibility and so much invitation for change and expansion, you know, whether that's moving from writing plays and acting on stage and being in theater practice to really exploring this unknown, unfamiliar territory, in you know, one way of perceiving it in terms of, like, the technical know-how, the experience of getting into a recording studio, but then also knowing, like, deep down, like, in my heart's core, this is exactly where I'm meant to be. And really connecting in with that soul calling, with soul mission, and what, you know, really I want to do in this lifetime. And trustworthiness is a huge part of that. And yeah, as a result, this is where I'm at.
Yes. And you know, I'm celebrating you big time because, you know, we've worked so closely together, and I know what it's taken for you to get here. I mean, not just as you know, on a mentoring level, but on a friendship, on a sisterhood level. You know, I've been close with you over the last few years, and really I know what it takes to go through. And you know, when you're talking about trust, I think this is really profound, because I think as artists, it's something that a lot of creators struggle with, right? In that process of allowing ourselves to be open to flow, to be open to creation, to be open to inspiration, and to be the vessel for inspiration to come through, and to not block ourselves, you know, or get in the doubt or the fear or the over analysis paralysis, or you know, to allow ourselves to be open enough to be able to receive. So yeah, it's a really profound, yeah, it's a profound learning I hear there. And when I was listening to the track, I was hearing that you're one thing I love is the way that you're dancing between spoken word and melody, and actually just singing as well. And there's one section in the song where I can hear that you're speaking a different language as well. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'd love to. So there is a part of the track where I'm actually speaking in Malay, and that is one of my mother tongues. And yeah, I really wanted that to come through for multiple reasons. One, because the lyricism in Malay, like while I don't write in Malay a lot, the lyricism, the romanticism present in the literature and in the language itself, derived, you know, from this beautiful blend of Arabic and Sanskrit and all these other languages, really, it's that informs my poetry, informs my artistic expression, and the imagery, the symbolism that I love to play in and with. It's, you know, this blend of mythology and mysticism and a lot of natural elements. Like Malay has beautiful connections to the natural world in its language. And so I wanted to bring that in to really honor that as well, because it's such a strong part of me. It forms my artistry. And it's also like a beautiful, yeah, dedication to a lot of the people online as well that are, you know, connecting with me and my voice. And this for me was a way of being able to reach out in more of that intimate, personal way. Also knowing that a lot of the people that do follow me on Insta, you know, don't have access to my live performances. So how can I also share this with them, not just putting it on Spotify, but actually tapping into a part of them that is special and personal. So there's that element as well. And then there's another element that I really want to share because, yeah, I have to. So my grandfather in Malaysia, his name is Kamarul Arifin. He is an incredible old school Malay poet. So his language is so floral and dripping with reverence. When I have a birthday, I get sent a gorgeous poem from him. And he's been in this world of filmmaking and poetry, and but like really old school. So the words he uses are really old school too. And I wanted to play with that. I also think it brings out, it heightens more of that like reverence in language and romanticism in language. So I was using words that, you know, might be in a poem that he would have written back in the day. So that was a huge part of it. It's like really honoring this sense of the ancient as well, and the celestial. And yeah, so the actual transliteration of that is not in the track itself. So only Malay speaking people will actually know what it means. But it's this beautiful blend of celestial imagery that I feel only that language, that particular transmission can evoke, you know, and yeah, just really honoring the purity in that as well.
That is so special, and I love the way that you've created space to just really honor that part of your heritage and your ancestry and that part of your identity, and you've infused that into your piece so beautifully. And you speak a lot of the word of reverence, and I feel like that's the word that if I had to capture the transmission that I received just listening to the poem, it's reverence. And I feel that you know, you often refer to yourself as a poet, a priestess, and a performer. So I'd love, let's connect a little bit and reason a little on, like, what does it mean for you to be a modern day priestess, and how does that inform your artistry? How is that what's that dance like between poet and priestess and performer, and how do they all influence each other?
I love that dance so much. Just got to say that.
And you do it so well.
Thank you. Because I think there was a little bit of resistance around really owning that word and, you know, seeing if it's in resonance to my expression. But I really find it so fitting in terms of what I want to express and how I do that in the world. So there's so many definitions of what a priestess is, right? Like we can, you know, go to town and talking about that, but I'll come back to what and like how I connect with it. So a priestess being a channel for heaven, you know, coming down and grounding into earth is something that I really connect with. How can I bring, embody, celebrate, express heaven on earth? That beautiful blend of the mystical, the celestial, the ethereal, coming in contact and in touch with the earthy, the human, the sensual, the, you know, the material plane. And for me, yeah, it's this beautiful dance of sensual and spiritual expression. And I love the word priestess because it echoes the archetype of the princess as well in certain forms of mythology and culture. And yeah, I've been on this journey of really embracing my royal lineage. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've really met with truth and trust in, you know, the last couple of years. How can I embrace my royalty in a way that speaks to my heart and soul and what I'm here to do? So rather than saying a princess, I say I'm a priestess, because it's like I have this lineage, I have this energetic signature informing everything that I do. So how can I then bring it into service, which is something that I'm really passionate about? How can I serve in a way that's authentic and aligned for me? And that's through my artistry. That's through the power of my voice. And priestesses are known to embody and practice charisma and to speak truth and to invoke and inspire and then spread, you know, whether that's to clear an energy field or, yeah, just honor a download, whatever that looks and feels like. That's something that I'm actively doing and embracing. And so priestess feels right. And yeah, priestesses love dancing. They love creating ritual, being in temple, being in sanctuary, being in reverence. And I'm really owning the word reverence here because I feel like there's a lot of irreverent art out there. And it's not really my jam, you know. And when we were going through lockdown and just even flicking through Netflix, the number of shows or categories that were connected to dystopia and irreverence, like the volume of that really made me go, I'm here to share a different vibration, and I'm here to own reverence
Mm.
and find the beauty in that. Yeah, and you know, I really want to speak to this beautiful term as well, that a coach that I worked with before called Susanna Brisk, she's a sexual intuitive. That's what she goes by. And when I was working with her in 2020, she basically said that I carry so much metaphysical devotion. And, you know, that for me is what a priestess does. Like, priestesses evoke this sense of metaphysical devotion. And where I find that the most potent is in my poetry and in the way I relate in my romantic relationships. So it makes felt sense that a priestess is transmitting this track called You Are Water, because it is dripping with reverence and
Mm.
devotion and love. And I'm sure, because I can, like, you can feel the love coming
Mm.
through. And yeah, I'm a love priestess in my own way. And
Mm.
art is the way that I get to share that from my heart.
Mm. Yeah. Yes. And it's so powerful the way that you just stand in that. And it's true, like there is so much irreverent art out there, you know. It's like I often refer to it as like junk food, you know. It's like
Mm.
it looks good or it might sound good, but you know, there's no nourishment in it, there's no nutrients in it. Like after you've consumed it, you feel kind of dirty. Not dirty. So you
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like you feel undernourished, you know.
Mm.
And so yeah, what was the turning point for you, or was there a turning point, or has it always been like that for you, where you've wanted to be intentional about um the way that you make art and the message that you infuse into your art, like the transmission that's coming through?
Mm.
Has that something you've always been intentional about, or is that something that you kind of in your creative development you got to a point where you were like, wait a minute, um you know, when you recognize like the power of words, like the word sound power that exists, you know, we know that words hold frequency, they hold energy, right? And whether it's a song or a poem, when you're putting something out there that's getting into the consciousness of people and they're listening to your words and they're absorbing it, it's yeah, it's an incredible way that we get subconsciously influenced all the time by what we're listening to, you know.
Mm. Mm.
And so what was that process for you? Have you always been you know, a conscious creator is what I would call it, or have you always been intentional about the messaging that you're wanting to portray in your artistry?
Yeah, I think I've always been like this. And now it's about really celebrating that and really standing behind that, really backing myself with that particular way of creating art. Um, I have appreciation for irreverence. I have appreciation for, you know, satire and all of those beautiful forms of artistry, but it's not really what I'm super passionate about. So poetic meaning making is something that I live by. And yeah, there is a huge level of intentionality behind that. There was a huge level of intentionality behind, as I said, why this track is a song. There was a huge intentionality, you know, behind every single word that I've used in that, whether that's honoring an inside joke with, you know, my former partner, or yeah, just really being like, I think, yeah, intention is something that I've always had with my work. And sometimes the depth or the commitment to that can be perceived as sentimental, or yeah, that was a big word that I've had to contend with, particularly in the industry as well, in terms of like the theater scene. So my work is quite reverent, is quite intentional, um, and can be sentimental if you want to perceive it that way.
Mm.
And I've I've felt a resistance, and I'm just saying industry in a very generalized, you know, broad brushstroke kind of way. but I could feel like when I'm sharing like this passionate about, there's a resistance and sentimentality. There was a resistance to depth. There was a resistance to meditative, like, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Contemplation sometimes. So I'll give you an example. Like with my play, Make Me a Houri, I was really exploring this tension between religion and spirituality. And it was coming from like this desire to create a play that was quite meditative and like, let's ponder on something that is apparently contentious. And so I feel like my intention is to really sit in that, go deep and, you know, go deep and go through. Whereas I think aesthetically speaking, I was coming up against a lot of theater makers that wanted to push against and like show tension, show conflict in that kind of way, in drama, in performance, in storytelling. You know, it's like, let's push against the emotion in this rehearsal room. Let's really not speak our heart. Like, let's really let that stay in the subtext. Let's really lean into that friction and tension. And that's not how I organically share what's really in my heart. So I was kind of like being pushed up against this real popularity of pushing up against things. And I wanted to do things differently to fulfill myself as an artist and as a woman and as someone that's so grateful to be alive and in this dance of reverence for the magic of life. And so for some people, that's a bit Disney fairy tale princess, and it's not trending. It's, you know, it's too sentimental. It's too ideal, like, yeah, it's filled with too much idealism, like all of these words that I was basically internalizing, you know, these projections that I was internalizing. And I just had to come back to the truth that I'm here for reverence. I'm here for metaphysical devotion. I love speaking to love and intimacy and poetry. And I'm not here for like political interrogation when it comes to honoring and using my artistry. That's just not me. Like, you can see it however you want in whatever lens. Like, I'm open to being seen in that light, but it's not where I create work from. You know, and that's a huge, yeah, like that's a huge thing that I have to hold near and dear when I do feel that doubt or that fear and that resistance coming through.
Yeah, I totally hear you on that. And I think it's, and, you know, I know that there's a lot of artists that are watching and that are in this community in general. So if you relate and if you've experienced something similar, like, please share with us and in the comments and let us know. But yeah, I mean, it's not always trending to be conscious or to, you know, be
or it is, like it is now.
Oh, I mean, it depends on where your community is and where your focus is. But you know, I think it takes a lot of courage as an artist to be able to just stand in your truth and speak, you know, speak with a raw and a real and a vulnerable and just an unfiltered essence, you know. Be able to, yeah, to put things like, you know, messages into your artistry that are really coming from a very deep level, and to not bypass the beauty of and the intensity of all the emotions and the feelings and, you know, the whole spectrum of what makes us human. So yeah, I salute you for standing in that and honoring that. And so I'm trying to pull back our where we met, or not even how we met, but our journey together. Because back when I was living in Australia, we were doing some like one-on-one. I was doing some coaching and some mentoring sessions with you there, working on your voice, and I know that you also did my Songstress program, which is our online women's creative alchemy program that I run as well. And so it's been a few years that we've been in each other's orbit and we've been inspired
Mm.
by each other, and there's been a synergy. So what's that journey like been for you? What do you feel has been like maybe some of the most valuable things that you've experienced from us, from our connection?
Oh, where do I start? I know where to start. I know how we met. And yeah, I would really want to express that. So we met at Big Love Fest at Second Story Studios, which is where the event is taking place tomorrow night. So I
Okay.
love the poetry in that. We met at a conscious relationships
Yeah,
festival.
yeah, we met at a conscious relating festival. Wow. Okay, I remember that. Yeah, and yeah, it's just shout out to all of our Second Story family down in Melbourne in Fitzroy. Um, that was beautiful, and I love that it's come full circle here.
Yeah, it really has, which is why it's so special for me to be sharing this in that space, because that was such a portal opener for me, being like,
Mm,
these are my people. These are the people that want to hear me and my truth.
mm,
And yeah, it's that beautiful dance of this conscious relationship space and artistic expression. And of course, that's where we met. You know,
mm.
I love that. I love that. And the next time I saw you was New Year's Eve, I believe.
Okay, yeah, I remember that too. New Year's Day on Bells Beach.
Yeah, and that is so pivotal in this journey of
Mhm,
us relating
mm.
and the start of this track. Because, you know, so I saw you at the New Year's Eve party the night before New Year's Day. And that's also where the beautiful, like, activation of me and my previous partner started as well. So you've just been on this journey with me the whole time.
I was there.
Yeah, and so that's how, and we were dancing together, and I remember that. And then we had this beautiful, like, spontaneous, well, it wasn't spontaneous, but I was joining you and our friend Laura, um, and we were going to do Yamaya blessings to the water.
Mm,
And that was so special because I remembered it was like a ritual for us. And we
mm,
all went into the water and, you know, called in what we wanted. And for me, it was, I was invoking um, this manifestation to bring all parts of me back to me.
mm,
And I remembered, yeah, just being in that water and feeling so at home in
mm,
that flow, in that element,
mm,
and really just calling in all artistry, all relationships, you know, just all aspects of me come back to me so I can really get to know myself and trust in what wants to be rebirthed.
mm,
And yeah, that Yamaya blessing, you know, that, like, of course we spent beautiful time together sharing our desires, you know, whether that was like calling in our king and, you know, like, yeah, just all of these beautiful things. It was such an expression of union and relationship and beauty and honoring the goddess and honoring nature, like just all coming together in this moment of like three sisters, you know, at Bell's Beach, like running to the sea. And yeah, that's really where the journey started for us and this track as well.
mm. Yeah, that's so special. And I love that our our relationship started with ritual. And
Yeah.
no, I know that tomorrow you've got big plans for the launch and it's going to be special. So I know that it's your birthday and it's the equinox, and it's also you're going to be having a ceremony with cow. Tell us a little bit about the launch. Like what are people going to expect? I know it's at studios in Fitzroy. Um, tell us what the experience is going to be like for people.
Yeah. So um, the event is called On the Cusp of Beauty. And I very intentionally, you know, use those words because it celebrates this gorgeous time where Virgo season transitions into Libra season. And my birthday was on Tuesday, on the 20th of September. And it's really that meeting point where Virgo meets Libra, and where the priestess really meets the lover. And so it felt perfect, perfectly timed. And this night is essentially a night to celebrate the release of You Are Water, my poetry single, and have that inner space that, you know, is community focused as well. And so it's this invitation for community, however you want to interpret that word, but for community to come together and celebrate the release of, yeah, this track that has been born out of a beautiful space of conscious relating as well. So it's this meeting place of love and intimacy, the expression of that coming through poetic artistry. And yeah, while we're celebrating the release of that, that's going to be beautifully supported by an array of artists in Melbourne, that are near and dear to me and have really inspired my own artistry, but also yeah, this sense of really wanting to call in like-hearted community and collaboration. So we've got a beautiful singer-songwriter, Dan Cully, who I met at the start of the year, who's just really inspired me through his lyricism. I love his lyrics. And there's like just a couple of songs that I've heard that just make me dance in my living room and really just connect to that reverence of life. And I really love how, as we were talking just now, Kattimoni, he said that he related to this sense of, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but this sense of resonating with, you know, having this poetic reverence and it maybe not being the most popular thing in Melbourne at the moment. And so that felt like a beautiful addition in terms of artists that are supporting me and the nature of this work. So we've got beautiful Dan, and then I've also got a gorgeous MC throughout the night, Claire Elizabeth D, who's like this big sister to me, and has such a beautiful big heart, and also sings from a place of real personal truth and transformation. And you know, she's someone who's also listening right now. Thank you so much, Claire, for all your support. Someone that really honors the love and intimacy as well. And so, yeah, that just felt right to have Claire holding space for me and putting it all together, you know, like linking this for me. And then I've got, yeah, some spoken word artist friends. They've been like fairly recent friendships, like over, you know, the last couple of years. So these are people that are really alive in my field. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this, yeah, this like collaboration. So I've got my friend Monica Jasmine Caro, who's this beautiful First Nation singer, songwriter, storyteller, just medicine woman. I've got Nadia Hope, who like does spoken word with rap, and I have no idea what she's actually going to share on the night, but I just love that energy and her flow and her playful spirit. And she really speaks truth as well, you know, in a way this might not be popular opinion, but this is where I stand, and I respect her for that. And I've got another beautiful friend who's really, really new to the open mic scene, and I wanted to give her space as well. And her name is Surin. And I can't wait for her transmission. She is really beautiful in the way she flows and uses words. So really excited about that. And I've also got my friend Solana, who's this sound ceremonialist. And we're doing a little bit of a collaboration that I'm really excited about, because for me, it honors a sense of lineage in me as well that's quite ancient and that can only be evoked through this beautiful partnership that we've like built. So there's that, Solana and me doing that. And then I've also got DJ Mike Hafner, and I'm really, really excited about that. That's going to be a bit more of like an ecstatic dance journey meets I've just turned 30 vibe. He's putting together this beautiful down-tempo-esque musical journey. And I love the fact that I actually met him at Rainbow Festival in 2019. And the reason why we're friends now is because I reached out to him as an artist, inviting him to see my theater show, and like really not knowing him, and him being so open to that, and from there formulating a really beautiful friendship with his fiance. So, you know, there's just like this real expression of love and art naturally coinciding on this journey, and me wanting to bring that all together because I'm so trusting of the energy and the magic that that could evoke and inspire within the people that have said yes to show up.
It sounds so delicious. I could be there. If you're in Melbourne and you're watching this, make sure you get down to the launch event tomorrow night. It's starting at 6:30. Is that right?
Yeah, doors open at 6:30.
Yeah, please go there on my behalf, everybody. It sounds incredible. And so how can people get tickets? Could they buy tickets at the door, or do they have to put them online, or how can people come?
Yeah, so tickets can be bought online right now. There is a cheeky link on my Insta. If you just go on to my link tree, the Eventbrite link is there. So yeah, that's the way to book in and support me. And yes, so just in terms of details, thank you, Ashla, because actually sharing important details of where it's at.
Thank you.
So On the Cusp of Beauty is going to be held at Second Story Studios, 222 Johnson Street, Collingwood, on Sacred Wurundjeri Country. Yeah, doors open at 6:30, and we're also going to have a cacao ceremony before the stage performances. So it's a real invitation to go a little deeper and, you know, really drop into that heart space if you want to receive whatever expressions that are coming through in a more intimate and like heart opening, expansive way. So the invitation is there to drop into ceremony first before receiving all of these transmissions.
Beautiful. It sounds so luscious and so divine and so special. That you really bring such a specialness, you know, everything that you do, you know, it's done with such devotion and such reverence, which seems to be the theme that we're talking about today, the playful reverence. Yes. I love that. So yeah, and so for people like me who are overseas or who are not able to make it to the event, where will the poem be? Where are you going to put it up? Is it going to be online? Can people get it on Spotify, or where can they experience your medicine?
So they can get the track on Spotify, and there is a pre-save link on my Insta as well. So you can pre-save it now and have that drop into your library as soon as it hits 12 a.m. tomorrow morning. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, beautiful woman, I'm so happy that you made time to connect and that we were able to just really drop in and honor this beautiful creation that you're sharing with the world. Thank you so much. Was there anything before we close our little conversation? I was going to ask, for those who are tuning in and listening, if you have any questions for Amina, drop them in the comments. If there's anything that you'd love her to speak to, or love to know more about, drop some questions in the comments before we close the space. And yeah, was there anything else that you felt that you really wanted to share, that you wanted to speak to?
I mean, I've really expressed a lot of what I wanted, and I'm really surprised by the amount that we've been able to cover and share. Like, I love that so much that
we've been talking almost an hour now, just having a yarn on Insta. This is great.
I love it. You're like, thank you for really giving me the space to speak to this track in the way that I really want to, that, you know, kind of gets foregone when you're doing shorter engagement posts. So you've really given me that space to wax lyrical and just really honor the love priestess in me and the poet.
It's my pleasure, Beauty. And you know, it's been a pleasure to walk with you on this journey as your sister and also as an artistic mentor as well. Yeah, I'm so proud of you. You've this is such an epic piece. It's so potent. And there's so much love in it, and it's exactly what the world needs right now in these times, you know, in times like these. Um, love and poetry and beauty is what you're infusing in the world so graciously. So thank you for your offering. And yeah, for all of those who are watching, make sure that you get to the launch tomorrow, Second Story Studios, 6:30 p.m. in Johnson Street, Fitzroy, for ceremony, for cacao, for live performances, community connection, celebrating the equinox, and celebrating Amina's birthday. You're turning 30?
I've already turned it, but yeah, like it's just a couple of days, so I'm still fresh in the 30s.
Birthdays need to go for doubly.
Yeah, it's my birthday week. Yeah.
That out is long. Uh, so yeah. So yeah, thank you so much, beautiful. Make sure you get down there, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where this leads you, you know, to the next your next level of expansion, your next level of creativity that comes through. So yeah, so love.
Yeah, I just wanted to also just like quickly ask, just logistics wise, like, will this be saved? This track of this interview?
I hope so.
Yeah.
We'll,
Just wanting to like make sure.
yeah, we'll close it now, and then it will definitely get posted up to the New Earth Rising Instagram page. And so if you're just jumping on now, or you missed the start and you want to go back and see the replay, you can. And then we'll work out how we can download it and share it across other platforms as well. So
Beautiful. Thank you. I just like always want to say that just in case.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I also just really want to say thank you so much, Kattimoni, for being on this journey with me and really inviting me to show up, be in truth, and be courageous with my creativity. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure, my love. Okay. All right. Well, I hope that it all goes really well tomorrow, and I will touch base with you. I'm sending you so much love. Thank you everybody for tuning in as well. Make sure you head over to Amina's. Oh, wait. Where can people follow you as well?
Yes, people can follow me on my Instagram, so Amina Ashman. People can follow me on my Facebook artist page, Amina Ashman Artist. Yeah, I'd say those are two of the most active spaces at the moment. My Instagram is probably the most. Yeah, and you can also, as of 12 a.m. tomorrow, you can follow me as a Spotify artist.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah. So this is the first of many transmissions that I'm going to put out there and share, you know, to the world. So yeah, you can do that.
Yes, exciting. So good. Okay, my loves. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Sending lots of love, respect, and yeah, all the best for tomorrow night.
Thank you so much, gorgeous.
Pleasure. Good night. Good morning. Good
night. Good night.